It's one of those clear winter mornings. The sun is still low, sitting right down at the end of the street. And you back out of the driveway and point the car straight into it. That's when you see it. The whole windshield lights up like somebody frosted it overnight. A greasy, cloudy haze you would have sworn wasn't there yesterday, smeared across the glass right in your line of sight, turning the sun into one big, blinding smudge you can't see through. So you do the natural thing. You pull the wiper stalk, spray a little washer fluid, run the blades, and it gets worse, because those are the outside wipers, and the muck is on the inside. So you lick your thumb, or you grab whatever napkin is stuffed in the door pocket, and you rub at it. And now you've got a streak the exact shape of your thumb, and the haze all around it. And you're squinting through the one dirty smear you managed to make, while the light drops you blind at 40 miles an hour. Here's the thing nobody tells you. That film is not road dirt. It didn't blow in through the vents. It's not from your hands. Not really. That greasy fog on the inside of your glass came out of your dashboard. Your car has been quietly breathing itself onto that windshield a little more every hot day for as long as you've owned it. And that smell you loved when the car was new, that famous new car smell, is the exact same stuff. Same oil, coming off the same plastic. Half of it ended up on your glass. I have cleaned the inside of more windshields than I can count. And for years, I did it the way you probably do it. Glass cleaner, paper towel, scrub, swear, give up. It never came clean. Then somebody who actually knew what he was doing showed me the one step I was skipping, and it took the job from 20 minutes of frustration down to about 10 minutes and dead clear glass. So that is what I am going to give you. Not the version with a shopping list of $40 sprays. The real version. What the film actually is, why your glass cleaner physically cannot touch it, the one step almost everybody skips, and how to get the glass so clear you forget it's there. With stuff that costs about the price of a coffee. And stick with me for that one skipped step, because it's the whole game. It is the reason you can scrub a windshield for 20 minutes and still watch every streak light up the second the sun hits it. Miss that step and nothing else matters. Get it, and the rest is easy. Let me show you what's really going on. Let's start with the thing everybody gets backwards, because until you understand it, none of the cleaning makes any sense. You know how the outside of your windshield gets dirty. Bugs, road film, rain spots, the grime that kicks up off the truck ahead of you. That is the outside world doing it. So it feels natural to assume the inside gets dirty the same way. Dust settling, dirt tracked in on your shoes. And a little of that is true, but it is not the main event. The main event comes from inside the car, and it comes out of the materials the car is built from. There's a name for it. They call it outgassing or off-gassing. Forget the word. Here's what it's actually doing. Look at your dashboard, your door panels, the trim, the foam under the seats, the glue holding all of it together. Most of that is plastic and vinyl. A lot of it is a plastic called PVC, which on its own is stiff and brittle, like a length of drain pipe. To make it soft, flexible, nice to touch, that expensive, squishy, soft touch feel they want on a modern dashboard, they mix in oils. The oils are called plasticizers. The common family is called phthalates. That's the jargon, and you can throw it straight back out the window. All you need to know is this. Your dash is plastic with oil cooked into it to keep it soft. Now here's the part that matters. Oil does not stay put when you heat it, and a dashboard gets hot. Park in the sun on a summer afternoon, and the top of your dash can reach 200 degrees. Sunlight, ultraviolet, heat. It slowly cooks those oils right back out of the plastic as a vapor. That vapor drifts up inside the cabin, and it goes looking for the coolest surface it can find to settle on. And the coolest surface in your car, the one with cold air on the other side of it, is the glass. The vapor hits the glass and condenses into a thin, oily film. Every hot day, a little more of it. It's the same reason a cold glass of iced tea sweats on a summer porch. The water in the warm air finds the coldest thing around and beads up on it. Only in your car, it isn't clean water beading up. It's evaporated dashboard oil, and it doesn't run off. It stays, and it builds. And your windshield is the perfect trap for it because of the way it sits. Think about an old car, an old pickup, something from the 60s. The windshield stood up almost straight, maybe 10 or 15 degrees off vertical. Now look at a modern car. To cut aerodynamic drag and pick up a sliver of fuel economy, they lay the windshield way back, 20, 30, sometimes 35 degrees off vertical, and on a low sports car closer to 50. So it isn't really a window anymore. It's a big, wide, flat shelf tilted back toward the sky, sitting right above the very dashboard that's steaming oil up into the cabin. You could not design a better collector for that film if somebody paid you to try. So the old-timers dealt with this film too. It's not new. But the modern car made it worse in two ways at once. The screen got bigger and flatter and more raked, so it catches more. And the plastics got softer and cheaper and packed with more of those oils, so there's more of it coming off. That is why the inside of your windshield never seems to stay clean, no matter what you do. It's not you. The dash is going to keep breathing as long as the car exists. What you can control is how you clean it. And that is where almost everybody goes wrong. Let me walk you through the actual job, start to finish, and I'll tell you why at every step, because the why is what makes it work. First, what you need. It's a short list. 2 or 3 microfiber towels. Not paper towels. Paper leaves lint, and it has just enough grit in it to leave tiny scratches you'll catch in the light for the rest of the car's life. Not a shop rag, not an old t-shirt either. Those just push the oil around. Clean microfiber. And if you can get hold of one of the waffle weave ones, the kind with the little raised grid pattern woven into it, keep that one aside for the final buff. That grid grabs moisture and residue and lifts it off the glass instead of shoving it around. Then, 2 liquids. 1 bottle of isopropyl alcohol. Rubbing alcohol, the 70% kind from the drugstore, is perfect, or mix it half and half with distilled water. That is your degreaser, and it is the secret of the whole thing. And 1 bottle of glass cleaner, ammonia-free, for the finish. Quick word on that glass cleaner. You'll see a whole shelf at the parts store of special automotive glass cleaners, $8, $10, $12 a bottle. You do not need them. Most of what's in the fancy bottle is the same alcohol, a little detergent, and water. You can mix your own for a couple of dollars, and it will work exactly as well. The bottle with the race car on it is mostly charging you for the picture of the race car. And why ammonia-free? Because ammonia is what a lot of window cleaners use to get that fast, streak-free finish on house glass. And it does evaporate quick and clean. But in a car, it's the wrong tool. It attacks window tint, it dries out and hardens vinyl and leather over time. And you're wiping it right next to both. So for a car, ammonia-free, every time. Now, before you touch anything, one condition, and it's the one people ignore. Do this with the glass cool and out of direct sun. Not on a hot afternoon with the windshield baking. Here's why. If the glass is hot, the cleaner flashes off. It dries the instant it lands, before you've had a chance to wipe it clean. And that drying on contact is exactly what leaves streaks baked into the glass. Pull the car into the garage or into the shade and wait until the windshield is cooled to the touch. That one thing alone fixes half of everybody's streak problem before they've done anything else. Step 1. Lay one of your towels flat across the top of the dashboard, right at the base of the windshield. 2 reasons. It catches any drips, so you're not soaking your dash and your vents. And in a minute, it's going to help you reach the bottom of the glass. Then, before any liquid touches anything, take a dry microfiber and wipe the whole windshield down to lift the loose dust off. Skip this, and you'll spray cleaner onto dry dust and turn it into mud. And now you're grinding gritty paste around your glass. Dry first, always. Step 2, and write this one down. Spray the cloth, not the glass. Never spray cleaner straight onto the windshield. On any car built in the last several years, tucked up behind your rearview mirror, there's a camera. The one that runs your lane keeping and your automatic emergency braking. And usually a rain sensor sitting right against the glass next to it. Spray the windshield directly, and you are misting alcohol and cleaner straight into that camera housing and down into the dash vents and whatever electronics live under there. You do not want that. Dampen the towel instead. The towel touches the glass. The spray never does. Now, step 3. This is the one. This is the step almost everybody skips, and it is the reason your glass cleaner has been failing you your whole life. Take a clean microfiber, dampen it with the alcohol, and wipe the entire windshield with it first, before the glass cleaner ever comes out. Here's why it matters. And once this clicks, you will never clean glass the old way again. The film is oil. That is the whole problem. Right there. And glass cleaner, even the good stuff, is basically water with a little detergent in it. Water does not dissolve oil. You already know that from a greasy frying pan. So when you go straight in with glass cleaner on an oily windshield, you are not removing the oil. You are just smearing it around into a thinner, more even coat. And a thin, even coat of oil is precisely what turns into that rainbow streak that lights up the moment the sun or a headlight hits it. Alcohol is a different animal. Alcohol is a solvent. It actually dissolves the oil, breaks it loose from the glass, and carries it up into the towel. That is the difference between smearing the problem around and actually lifting it off. Do the alcohol pass, and you have done the one thing that almost nobody does. Which is exactly why almost nobody gets a truly streak-free windshield. Step 4, the Polish pass. Now, and only now, take your second clean towel, dampen it with the ammonia-free glass cleaner, and go over the whole screen. Little circular motions first to lift anything left behind, then finish with straight strokes. And make sure you get right down into that bottom edge where the glass meets the top of the dash. That corner collects the heaviest film of anywhere on the whole windshield because it's the lowest point and it sits closest to the dash. It is also the spot almost everybody misses because it's an awkward knuckle-scraping pain to reach. Step 5, the buff, and do not skip this one either. Take your dry waffle weave towel and buff the whole windshield, straight lines, top to bottom. This is the step that turns clean but hazy into invisible. A lot of folks stop right before this. They look at the glass, see a faint fog still hanging on it, and figure that's just as good as it gets. It isn't. That fog is only leftover moisture and a whisker of residue, and a dry buff wipes it right out. Buff it until it squeaks. There's one rule that runs through the whole job. The second a towel touches the dash or gets loaded up with oil, it is finished. Set it down and grab a fresh side or a fresh towel. A dirty towel isn't cleaning anything. It is an oil applicator, painting the film right back onto the glass you just cleaned. That is the entire reason people talk about a two-towel system. One towel to lift the dirt, a clean one to finish. The moment you blur those two jobs into one rag, you are smearing. Now, the reach. That raked back windshield we talked about looks sleek, and it is murder to clean, because the bottom 6 or 8 inches down by the dash, you physically cannot get your hand flat against. You end up jamming your knuckles into the glass at a bad angle. 2 ways around it. 1, the backhand. Turn your hand over, palm up, the back of your hand against the glass, and you'll find you can press the cloth flat into that low corner far more easily. 2, wrap your cloth around something with a bit of reach. One of those long windshield tools if you happen to own one, but a paint stir stick or a clean spatula works just as well. Keep the cloth damp, not dripping, so nothing runs down the glass and in behind the dash. One safety note before we move on. If you've got aftermarket tint, the stick-on film, either on your side windows or that dark strip along the top of the windshield, keep the alcohol and especially anything with ammonia away from it, and never take an abrasive pad to it. Ammonia is literally the stuff the shops use to strip tint off. Over time, it will break the film down, bubble it up, and turn it that ugly purple. So, on tinted film, mild ammonia-free cleaner only, and a soft towel, and nothing else. If your tint is baked into the glass at the factory, you're fine. It's the stick-on film you have to protect. And here's something the film will tell you, if you learn to read it. Most of the time, it's that light, greasy haze, and that's the normal off-gassing we've been talking about, and the method I just gave you handles it. But pay attention to what you're actually looking at. If the film is yellow-brown and sticky, and the car smells like an old ashtray, that's smoke or vape residue. It's tar, it clings a lot harder, and you should expect to run 2 or 3 passes to get it all off. And if you ever find a film that's greasy and slightly sweet smelling, almost like syrup wiped across the glass, stop. That is not your dashboard. That is engine coolant, antifreeze vapor, coming through your heater and your vents, because the little radiator tucked behind your dash, the heater core, is leaking. Cleaning the glass will not fix that. That's a real repair. And it's worth catching early before it turns into a soaked carpet and a foggy cabin you can't clear. Don't taste it to check, by the way. The sweet stuff is poison. The point is, that hazy glass is also a gauge. 2 people can have a filmy windshield, and one of them has a leak he doesn't know about yet. Learn to read it. Now I want to give you a couple of things around the edges that round the whole picture out. First, the newspaper. There's a good chance your dad or your granddad cleaned every window in the house with a wad of newspaper and swore up and down it beat anything in a bottle. And here's the honest truth. He wasn't wrong for his day. Old newsprint was thick and genuinely thirsty. It left no lint, and the old petroleum-based ink actually had a fine grit and a bit of solvent in it that helped polish the glass as you went. It worked. The trouble is, the newspaper changed. Modern paper is thinner. There are glossy coated inserts mixed all the way through it, and most of it's printed now with soy-based ink that smears off on your hands and your window frames and falls to pieces the second it gets wet. And it's abrasive enough that you'd never want it anywhere near tint. So, it isn't that the old boys were fools, it's that the tool quietly got worse while the story stayed the same. A clean microfiber does everything the newspaper did, without the ink on your knuckles. Some tricks just earn their retirement. Second, a quick word on those two liquids, because people mix them up. Alcohol is for the oily film. That's the inside job we've been doing. But if you're fighting whitish, cloudy spots, hard watermarks, the crusty stuff you get near the coast from salt spray, that's a mineral, not an oil, and alcohol won't do much for it. For that, a half-and-half mix of plain white vinegar and water is the right tool. The acid dissolves the mineral. So, alcohol for grease, vinegar for spots. Two different problems, two different fixes. And for a really stubborn, baked-on smoker's film, some folks reach for a melamine sponge, one of those white erasers, barely damp, gentle, on the bare glass only. It'll shift what nothing else will. Just keep it well away from any plastic, any trim, and any tint, because it is a fine abrasive, and it will dull all three. Third, prevention, because it is always better to fight less film than to clean more of it. You can't stop the dash breathing, but you can slow it right down. Two things do most of the work. Park in the shade, or throw a sunshade up across the glass. Keep the dashboard cooler, and it cooks off far less oil in the first place. And crack your windows a finger's width when you park in the heat, so the vapor has somewhere to go besides straight onto your glass. And here's one that catches a lot of people out. Go easy on the glossy dashboard dressings, those greasy sprays that leave the dash looking wet and shiny. A lot of them are silicone-based, and they do the exact same thing your dash already does. They slowly evaporate and land on your windshield. And now you're fogging the glass with the very stuff you sprayed on to make the dash look nice. If you like a protected dash, use a matte, water-based one and keep it off the top surface right under the glass. Your windshield will thank you for it. Now here's the part I actually want you to sit with for a second because it's bigger than a dirty windshield. There is almost no money in this job. A few dollars of rubbing alcohol, a few microfiber towels you probably already own, 10 minutes in the shade. And that, right there, is exactly why nobody ever taught it to you. Follow the money the other way, and the whole thing comes into focus. Start with the film itself. It isn't an accident. It's a symptom of a choice made a long way from you. Somewhere in a design meeting, soft touch plasticized plastic won out over harder, more stable materials because it feels expensive under your hand and it's cheap to mold into a dashboard. But that soft, pleasant feel is the oil. The same oil that ends up steamed onto your glass is the exact thing making your dash feel nice. You were sold the symptom as a feature, and the smell it gives off on the way out, that new car smell, somebody turned that into a product too. They bottle it. They sell it as an air freshener. They hang the little tree from your mirror. And they market it to you as the scent of something new and clean and expensive, when what you are actually smelling is solvents evaporating out of your own dashboard. That's a neat trick when you think about it. Selling you back the smell of your car slowly falling apart. Then there's the aisle, a whole shelf of special automotive glass cleaner, $10 and $12 a bottle. Most of it the same alcohol and detergent and water you can mix at your kitchen sink for pocket change. Nobody's breaking a law. It's just that there is real money in a bottle with a race car on the label. And there is exactly no money in some guy telling you to buy the plain brown bottle from the drugstore and a rag. There's never any money in the simple version. That is the whole reason the simple version stays a secret. And the windshield itself has quietly gotten more expensive to own. They raked it flatter for a fraction of a mile per gallon. They stuck a camera to it and a heating element and a rain sensor, so now it's harder to reach when you clean it. And when a stone cracks it, it isn't a plain sheet of glass anymore. It's a calibrated electronic part that costs many times what the old one did, and it needs a computer aimed at it afterward just to see the road straight. So what did we actually lose in all this? Not the ability. You just learned it. It took 10 minutes. What we lost is the plain knowledge. The degrease first, 2-towel trick that every old detailer and every careful mechanic simply knew. That just stopped getting handed down, because there is no profit anywhere in teaching a man to solve his own problem in 10 minutes with $4 of stuff. It didn't vanish because it stopped working. It vanished because nobody makes a dime when you already know it. And that's really the whole thing, isn't it? It's a small win, a clean windshield, but it's the kind of small win that tells you something. A problem that used to baffle you, that made you feel a little helpless every single time the sun came up, turns out to be a thing you can understand and beat with your own 2 hands and a couple of dollars. Not a mystery you hand to somebody else and pay to make disappear. Something you get. There is a quiet satisfaction in that. A screen you cleaned yourself, that stays clear, because you understand exactly why it fogged. And I think that satisfaction is the thing that keeps getting taken from us, one sealed box at a time. Every part of the car they tell you not to open, not to touch, not to bother understanding, takes a little piece of that away and hands you a bill in its place. Cleaning your own glass and knowing why it works is a small way of taking a piece of it back. It was never really about the windshield. It's about being the kind of person who understands his own machine. So here's what I want you to actually do. Start to finish. Get the glass cool and out of the sun, garage or shade, cool to the touch. Lay a towel across the top of the dash. Take a dry microfiber and wipe the loose dust off first. Then dampen a clean towel with rubbing alcohol, the towel and not the glass, and wipe the whole windshield down. That's the degrease, and that is the step that wins the entire job, so don't you dare skip it. Then a second clean towel, damp with ammonia-free glass cleaner over the whole screen, circles first, then straight strokes, and get right down into that bottom corner where the film is thickest. Finish by buffing it bone dry with the waffle weave towel in straight lines. And anytime a towel touches the dash or loads up with grease, drop it and grab a clean one. Here's a last little trick to check your work. When you wipe the inside, make your final strokes side to side, horizontal. Save the vertical strokes for the outside of the glass. That way, if you spot a streak later, the direction of it tells you instantly which side it's on. Up and down means it's on the outside. Side to side means it's on the inside. And you go straight to the right one instead of standing there, guessing and cleaning both. That's it. Under 10 minutes, a few dollars of stuff, most of which is already sitting in your house, and it holds for weeks before the dash breathes enough to need doing again. And picture the payoff. Next clear morning, you back out of the driveway straight into that low sun, the exact moment that used to blind you, and instead of a wall of glowing milk glass, you've got glass so clean you forget it's even there. A truck's headlights hit you on a wet night and they stay sharp little points of light instead of exploding into a smear across your whole field of view. And the best part, when the haze does start creeping back in a month or so, you will not feel helpless about it for 1 second. You'll know exactly what it is, exactly why it's there, and exactly how to have it gone again before you've finished your coffee. Now I want to hear from you, because this is the part I actually look forward to. Tell me in the comments what your film looks like. Is it the light, greasy haze most of us get? Is it the yellow, sticky smoker's film that fights back? Or did somebody out there catch that sweet, oily one, go looking, and find a heater core quietly leaking behind the dash? Because if you did, you probably just saved yourself a much bigger bill by knowing what it was. And tell me what you used to clean glass with before you knew any of this. The newspaper, the vinegar, whatever your dad or your grandmother swore was the only thing on earth that worked. I read every single comment on these, and those stories, the tricks handed down in your family, are a big part of the reason I keep making them. If this was useful, subscribe and stick around, because the next one is a good one. We're going to talk about the 2 words hiding in your owner's manual that might just be the most expensive words in the whole book. Filled for life. Lifetime fluid. The transmission they sealed up and told you never needs a fluid change. The one with no dipstick to even check it, so you're simply supposed to trust them. I'll show you where that promise really came from, who it actually serves, and why the day that fluid turns out not to be lifetime after all tends to be the exact day the whole transmission goes with it. Until then, go clean your glass while it's still cool out. Do the alcohol step. And see the road the way you were meant to. That's the one that makes all the difference. I'll see you next time.